Hi guys, welcome back to Y&R Spoilers. Today I'm going to review the failures Phyllis faces when she places her trust in the wrong people. The plot twist may lead Phyllis to unforeseen consequences. What happens to Phyllis when she's betrayed by the very ally she bribed? Lauren is someone who can't stand the consequences. Phyllis needs Lauren as a secret strategic advisor. Instead of a public role, Phyllis offers Lauren an unofficial senior strategic advisor position for the new Newman Enterprises. Phyllis trusts Lauren's business acumen and network to help her consolidate power, counter Victor's schemes, and ensure the company withstands any attacks. In return, Lauren will receive a generous reward and considerable hidden power. Phyllis has never been the type to stand idly by when she feels power slipping from her grasp. The more pressured she became, the more fiercely she resisted, believing that with enough recklessness, intelligence, and ruthlessness when necessary, she could still turn the tide of a chessboard that Victor seemed to have orchestrated. But the very moment she believed she was closest to victory was when the most dangerous cracks began to appear. Silent, thin as a thread, yet sharp enough to cut through the entire shell of control she had painstakingly built. After all the recent upheavals, Phyllis understood that what she had held was not as secure as it disappeared. Newman Enterprises in her hands was not a true throne, but more like a chair in the middle of a storm. One wrong move and everything would collapse before she could react. Therefore, what she needed was no longer just boldness or impulsive counterattacks. She needed a different brain behind her, someone astute enough to see the dangers she, in her intoxication with power and emotion, might have overlooked. She needed a secret strategic advisor, an unseen hand capable of balancing her crumbling empire. And in Phyllis's eyes, no one was more suitable than Lauren. That thought didn't come as a spur-of-the-moment decision. It stemmed from a bitter admission Phyllis didn't want to face. She alone wasn't strong enough. She possessed a strong survival instinct, a daring spirit, the ability to exert pressure and manipulate others, but she also knew all too well her greatest weakness: her emotions. Phyllis easily let anger guide her. She easily turned cold, ruthless battles into personal confrontations. The more she hated Victor, the more she reacted in ways that gave him more opportunities to read her. The more she wanted to prove herself strong, the more she tended to push things to extremes. Lauren was different. Lauren didn't need to create chaos to prove her worth. She was sharp in a quieter, calmer, more practical way. She understood that relationships in Genoa City were driven by self-interest, by conditional loyalty, and by handshakes that could change color overnight. Lauren possessed a quality that Phyllis acknowledged but also envied: the ability to keep a cool head even when caught in the middle of conflict. When Phyllis approached Lauren, it wasn't a simple meeting for cooperation, but a calculated psychological test. She didn't make it public, didn't give the impression of a formal offer, and certainly didn't want anyone to understand the true importance of this conversation. Phyllis chose to subtly probe, as if she were placing half-open door before Lauren, leaving it up to her to decide whether to enter. But behind that restrained facade was a fiercely suppressed impatience. Phyllis knew she needed Lauren more than she wanted to admit. She needed Lauren's network, Lauren's business acumen, and the prestige Lauren had built over the years as a new shield for Newman Enterprises, which was a fragile under control. She spoke of the company's future with all her enthusiasm, but the more she spoke, the more it became clear that this wasn't just ambition. It was fear. The fear that without someone strong enough to stand by her side, she would be pulled down faster than she imagined. If the story continues in this direction, Phyllis's tragedy would not be a strategic failure, but the moment she realized she had misjudged both the game and the people. She believed she could use hidden power and lucrative rewards to forge a strong enough alliance against Victor. But what she didn't foresee was that in the biggest battles, people don't betray each other for money. They betray each other when they feel the ship is tilting, and the most level-headed are usually the ones who jump off first. If Lauren did that, Phyllis would not face only a painful blow, but the bitter truth that her own insecurities had created the opening for that blow to happen. Personally, I find this kind of plot development perfectly in keeping with the spirit of Y&R. No need for a dramatic explosion, no need for excessive external events, just a seemingly clever offer, a moment of hesitant silence, and a misalignment of trust are enough to push things in a dangerous direction. What makes this story worth watching isn't the surface power, but the way it exposes the loneliness of those who constantly try to appear strong. The more Phyllis tries to prove she's in control, the more she makes the viewer feel the growing fear within her. And if Lauren truly turns her back at the crucial moment, it won't just be a betrayal. It will be the moment Phyllis is forced to confront her weakest point, something she's probably buried deeper than any business secret.